Chosen one, listen carefully. What I'm about to reveal is not just another message, it is a divine awakening meant for you. There are hidden truths about your identity that have been deliberately kept from you. Truths that could change everything once you fully grasp them. This is not a coincidence. If you are here, it is because divine forces have led you to this moment. Think back. Have you ever felt like there were missing pieces to your past? Have you noticed patterns in your life that seemed too intentional to be random? Deep inside, you've always known that you were different, set apart. That feeling wasn't just in your mind, you were chosen. And yet, those who saw your light before you did tried to keep you blind to your own power. Why? Because the moment you fully recognize who you are, nothing can stop you. Those who feared your potential tried to suppress it. They manipulated circumstances, blurred memories, and planted doubt in your heart. But no matter what they did, the calling over your life could never be erased. And now, it is time for you to reclaim it. Before we go deeper, I want you to do something powerful. If this message resonates with you, comment 999 below as a declaration that you are ready to step into your true purpose. And to those who have supported this mission through super thanks, I am deeply grateful. Your generosity is helping to spread this divine message to those who need it most. May God bless you abundantly for your giving heart. Chosen one, brace yourself. Once you hear what I'm about to share, you will never see your past the same way again. Everything, the struggles, the rejections, even the betrayals, will finally make sense. But be warned. Not everyone is prepared for this truth. Only those who are truly chosen will understand. If you are still here, that means you are ready. Now, let's uncover the truth they never wanted you to know. It's time to bring what was hidden into the light. God's chosen ones. They hid from you who you really are, your true story. From the very moment a child enters this world, there are subtle yet powerful signs that reveal their divine purpose. Signs that are often invisible to the ordinary eye but carry deep spiritual significance. What may seem like random events, fleeting emotions, or unexplained inclinations are, in reality, orchestrations of God's hand, gently guiding His chosen ones toward their destiny. Perhaps you recall moments from your childhood when you felt an unshakable sense of peace, an inexplicable pull towards something greater, or a deep understanding of the world that seemed beyond your years. These experiences were not coincidences, they were divine markers placed along your path, calling you to a sacred mission. This aligns perfectly with Ephesians chapter 1 verse 4, which declares, "For He chose us in Christ before the foundation of the world. In His love, He predestined us to be holy and without blemish." Imagine that. Before the earth was even formed, God had already set you apart for a special purpose. Have you ever wondered why certain memories from your early years stand out so vividly? Why, despite everything, you have always felt different, like you were meant for something greater? If so, pay close attention, because these signs may be confirmation that you are one of God's chosen ones. Since childhood, you may have sensed that you were different from those around you. Perhaps you were more observant, preferring to watch and understand rather than simply follow the crowd. While other children easily blended into social circles, you might have found yourself standing on the outside, not because you weren't capable of fitting in, but because you saw the world through a different lens. Maybe you were the one who asked the profound questions that even adults struggled to answer. Why was I born? What is my purpose? Why do I see things differently from everyone else? These thoughts weren't just childhood curiosities, they were glimpses of your divine calling. Consider Samuel, the young prophet in the Bible. As a child, he was set apart, growing up in the temple under Eli's guidance. One night, Samuel heard a voice calling his name, yet he did not recognize that it was God speaking to him. It wasn't until Eli instructed him that he understood he was being called for something greater. This story is found in 1 Samuel chapter 3 verses 1 to 10. Could it be that, like Samuel, God has been calling you since childhood, but the world around you failed to recognize it? Many chosen ones feel this sense of being different as a kind of burden, a reason for loneliness. Have you ever felt like you were too mature for your age? Like the way you thought, acted, and processed emotions was beyond what others could grasp? This isn't a flaw, it is a sign of divine preparation. The Bible reminds us in Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5, "Before I formed you in the womb I knew you. Before you were born I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations." You were never meant to blend in, you were meant to be set apart. History has shown that those who are called often experience rejection or misunderstanding. Take Albert Einstein, for example. Before he became one of the most influential scientists in history, he struggled in school and was often dismissed as slow by his teachers. His mind worked differently. He saw possibilities where others saw limitations. He later revolutionized physics because he embraced his unique perspective rather than conforming to what others expected of him. What if you, too, have been given a vision that the world has not yet understood? What if your difference is not a limitation, but a gift that will one day change lives? Chosen ones are often driven by an inner urge to help others, to bring light where there is darkness. Have you always been the one offering a comforting word when someone was hurting? The one who gave without expecting anything in return? Maybe you were the friend who people turn to in times of struggle, even though you rarely receive the same level of care in return. This is the mark of someone carrying God's heart within them, someone chosen to reflect His love in a world that desperately needs it. Jeremiah chapter 29 verse 11 reminds us, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to bless you, plans that will not harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." If you've ever wondered why you give so much and yet feel unseen, remember, God sees you, and He is preparing you for something beyond what you can imagine. That feeling of loneliness, that longing for something more, is not a sign that you are lost. It is an indication that God is calling you into something greater. Embracing this truth is the first step toward unlocking the future He has in store for you. So tell me, have you ever felt like the world was keeping something hidden from you? Like you were meant for something far beyond what others perceive? If so, perhaps the time has come to finally uncover the truth of who you really are. Since childhood, you may have felt that the world around you appeared different, while others went about their days with carefree innocence. You had an awareness that went beyond mere observation. It was as if your senses were sharper, your intuition deeper, and your ability to perceive emotions more profound than those around you. You noticed the weight behind unspoken words, the hidden sorrow in a person's eyes, or the subtle shift in energy when you entered a room. Even as a child, you understood things that others didn't seem to recognize. Could it be that this heightened awareness was not a coincidence, but rather a divine gift given to you for a greater purpose? Unlike your peers, who found joy in games and fleeting amusements, you were drawn to something deeper. The whisper of the wind, the rhythm of the falling rain, or the silence of the night stirred something within you. It felt as though the world itself was speaking, carrying a message beyond words. This sensitivity was more than just emotional depth, it was a spiritual connection, a sign that you had been set apart. The Bible reminds us in John chapter 15 verse 16, "You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you that you should go and bear fruit, fruit that will last, so that whatever you ask the Father in my name, He may give it to you." This verse is a direct confirmation that you were not chosen randomly. You were appointed for a purpose that is meant to bring lasting impact. Many people throughout history have carried this divine sensitivity, and though the world may not have understood them at first, their callings became undeniable. Nikola Tesla, one of the greatest inventors of all time, was known for his unusual sensitivity. From an early age, he saw visions, had an incredible memory, and could conceptualize entire inventions in his mind before ever putting them to paper. He once said that his ideas came to him as if they were transmitted from another realm. While the world saw him as eccentric, it later recognized his brilliance. What if the way you perceive the world is not a burden, but rather a divine imprint designed to help you fulfill your purpose? Even those called by God often experience isolation. Moses, chosen to lead the Israelites out of Egypt, was raised among royalty but never truly belonged. He felt the tension between his privileged life and his deeper calling. It wasn't until he encountered the burning bush that his destiny became clear. This story is found in Exodus chapter 3 verses 1 to 12. Have you ever felt like you were living between two worlds? The one you were born into and the one you feel called to step into? This unique awareness often comes with responsibility. Those who sense the burdens of others naturally become givers, healers, and protectors. But what happens when you give and rarely receive the same in return? Princess Diana, known as the People's Princess, had a heart for the suffering. Despite being in a position of privilege, she often felt misunderstood and out of place within the royal family. Her empathy led her to champion causes that others ignored, visiting hospitals, embracing those with HIV/AIDS at a time when fear and stigma were rampant, and advocating for the poor. Her deep sensitivity made her beloved, yet it also made her feel like an outsider in her own world. If you have always felt a deep urge to help others, even when it cost you emotionally, it is likely a sign that God has placed a special mission within you. John chapter 15 verse 16 assures us that when we align with God's purpose, He will equip us with everything we need. That deep knowing you've had since childhood, the way you perceive things beyond the surface, and the sense that you were always meant for something greater, none of it is random. It is part of a divine calling. Many of God's chosen ones have walked this path before you, and the journey is not without challenges. But those challenges are proof that you are being shaped for something extraordinary. If you have ever wondered why you were created the way you are, why you see what others don't, or why your heart feels drawn to something beyond the ordinary, perhaps the answer has been there all along. You were chosen, not by accident, not by coincidence, but by the divine hand of God Himself. The time is coming when you will understand it fully. Until then, trust that every part of your journey has been leading you to the moment when everything will become clear. Empathy is one of the clearest signs that you have been chosen. But it is not just an ordinary emotional sensitivity, it is a divine gift, a sacred calling, and a great responsibility. It allows you not only to feel the emotions of others, but also to understand their deeper spiritual needs. This is a rare and powerful trait, one that enables you to guide, heal, and uplift those around you. From an early age, you may have sensed that you were different in this way. While many people move through life unaware of the struggles and emotions of others, you have always noticed, you have always cared. Think back to your childhood. Were you the one who naturally gravitated toward those who were left out? Did you sense the sadness in someone's eyes before they even spoke a word? While others may have been too preoccupied with their own lives to notice, you instinctively knew when someone needed comfort. You have always placed others before yourself, not out of obligation, but because something deep inside you compelled you to do so. This ability is not just kindness, it is spiritual discernment. It is a reflection of God's love working through you. This deep empathy is not a weakness, it is a strength. The chosen ones are called to serve, to be healers, and to be sources of light in a world that is often filled with darkness. Your sensitivity to the emotions of others is not accidental, it is a part of your divine preparation. When someone was hurting, you felt their pain as if it were your own. When someone was joyful, their happiness filled your heart as well. This is not something that can be learned. It is a trait that God Himself has placed within you. The Bible affirms this sacred calling in Galatians chapter 6 verse 2. Bear one another's burdens, so that you may fulfill the law of Christ. This verse reveals that carrying the burdens of others, sharing in their struggles, and offering them love and support is an essential part of walking in Christ's footsteps. If you have always felt the weight of other people's emotions, it is because you were chosen to bear this responsibility, not as a burden, but as a mission to bring healing and hope to those who need it most. Many great individuals who changed the world were deeply empathetic. Mahatma Gandhi, the leader of India's nonviolent resistance movement, once said, "The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others." His empathy for those suffering under oppression led him to dedicate his life to justice. He could have lived comfortably, ignoring the struggles of the poor, but his heart would not allow it. He chose to bear their burdens as his own. What if your deep sensitivity to others is a similar calling? What if your purpose is to be a beacon of hope, just as he was? Even in the Bible, the greatest leaders were those with hearts full of compassion. Jesus Christ himself was moved by the suffering of others. When he saw the sick, he healed them. When he saw the hungry, he fed them. When he saw the broken, he restored them. His entire ministry was an outpouring of divine empathy, a love so great that he gave his life so that others could be saved. Matthew chapter 9 verse 36 tells us, "When he saw the crowds, he had compassion on them, because they were harassed and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd." If Jesus, the Son of God, led with compassion, then your deep empathy is a reflection of his Spirit working within you. At times, this gift can feel overwhelming. You may find yourself carrying the pain of others without knowing how to release it. But remember, God did not give you this sensitivity to weigh you down. He gave it to you so that you could be a vessel of his love. When you see someone hurting, your presence alone can be a source of healing. When you offer a kind word, it has the power to lift a soul that feels lost. Never underestimate the impact of your compassion. God's plan is unfolding, and you are an essential part of it. Your ability to sense, to feel, and to love deeply is not by accident, it is a divine appointment. The world needs more people like you, people who see beyond the surface, who care without being asked, who love without condition. If you have ever wondered why your heart carries the emotions of others, the answer is clear. You were chosen. You were set apart to reflect God's love in a way that few can. How will you use this gift? How will you allow your empathy to fulfill the purpose God has designed for you? The chosen ones often find themselves receiving messages through their dreams, as if the veil between the physical and the spiritual world is thinner for them than for others. Dreams are among the most powerful ways that God communicates with his chosen ones, carrying profound meaning and direction. Unlike ordinary dreams that fade upon waking, these visions are often intense, vivid, and deeply imprinted on the soul. Have you ever woken up feeling as though you had just experienced something more than a dream? Have certain dreams lingered in your mind for days, urging you to seek their meaning? If so, it may not have been a random occurrence. God may be speaking directly to you. There are times when a chosen one has a dream so powerful that it refuses to be forgotten. You may have experienced this, dreams so striking that they follow you long after you wake up. You try to remember every detail, piecing together what was shown to you, sensing that there is a hidden truth waiting to be uncovered. Or perhaps you have had dreams that seem to foretell the future, revealing events before they happened. These experiences, while mysterious in childhood, are actually evidence that you share a special connection with God. Throughout history, those who have been set apart for a divine purpose have received prophetic dreams, visions that act as seeds planted within their souls. These dreams are part of a divine preparation process, a way for God to equip his chosen ones before revealing his greater plan for their lives. Sometimes these dreams serve as warnings about future events. Other times, they bring comfort and assurance, reminding you that you are never walking alone. Could it be that God has been speaking to you all along, guiding you through the visions you see at night? The Bible provides many examples of God using dreams to reveal his plans. Matthew chapter 1 verses 20 to 21 tells us, "But while he was thinking about these things, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream and said to him, 'Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary to be your wife, for what is in her is of the Holy Spirit. She will give birth to a son, and you will name him Jesus, for he will save his people from their sins.'" Joseph was faced with a great dilemma. Should he stay with Mary despite her miraculous but shocking pregnancy? Or should he walk away? God chose to answer him through a dream, revealing the divine truth that Mary was carrying the Son of God. This dream provided Joseph with clarity, courage, and direction, allowing him to step into the sacred role he was meant to fulfill. This biblical example demonstrates that dreams are not just figments of imagination. They are a tool that God uses to guide, warn, and reassure those he has chosen. If you have had dreams that seem too real to be mere illusions, ones that carried a message you could not ignore, it is time to pay attention. God may be revealing something important to you. Many influential people in history have also spoken about the power of dreams in shaping their destiny. Harriet Tubman, the American abolitionist who led hundreds of enslaved people to freedom, claimed to receive visions and dreams that guided her path. She often said that her dreams revealed safe routes and warned her of dangers along the way. Despite being born into slavery, her faith in these divine messages gave her the courage to trust God's guidance. Could it be that, like Harriet Tubman, your dreams are pointing you toward your divine mission? In Genesis chapter 37, we see another striking example of God using dreams to reveal destiny, the story of Joseph, son of Jacob. From a young age, Joseph had prophetic dreams, including visions of his brothers bowing before him. Though he was mocked and even sold into slavery, those very dreams came to pass when he rose to power in Egypt, saving his family and an entire nation from famine. If Joseph had ignored his dreams, he might never have realized his true purpose. Many chosen ones experience dreams that defy explanation, visions that warn, direct, or provide insight into their journey. If you have ever felt that a dream carried a deeper meaning, do not dismiss it. You may be receiving glimpses of God's plan for your life. Trust in His timing, even when the meaning of your dreams is not immediately clear. Every vision, every message, every divine whisper in the night is part of something greater. Stay patient, stay faithful, and know that God is preparing you for a purpose beyond anything you could have imagined. There are moments in life when you sense that an unseen force is shielding you, a presence guiding you away from harm just before disaster strikes. You have encountered dangers that should have overwhelmed you, yet somehow you emerged unscathed. You have faced situations where there seemed to be no way out, yet a path suddenly appeared. These are not mere strokes of luck or random coincidences. They are signs of divine protection. Have you ever wondered why, when all seemed lost, a solution unexpectedly arrived? Why, when others struggled to recover from hardships, you found yourself standing firm, as though an invisible hand had been guiding your steps? Many chosen ones experience moments where they narrowly escape harm, where the impossible becomes possible. You may have been in a difficult financial situation, and just when you thought you had no options left, an unexpected opportunity appeared. Perhaps you have faced personal struggles, wondering how you would endure, only to find strength you never knew you had. These moments are not accidents. They are evidence that God is watching over you, ensuring that you fulfill the purpose He has placed within you. The Bible reminds us in Psalm chapter 34 verse 7, "The angel of the Lord encircles those who fear Him and saves them." This is not a vague statement, it is a divine promise. God does not simply watch from afar. He actively sends His angels to guard His chosen ones, ensuring that no weapon formed against them will prosper. If you have ever found yourself wondering why you were spared from situations that others did not escape, consider this. Could it be that you are being preserved for a greater mission? History is full of individuals who experienced inexplicable protection and went on to fulfill extraordinary purposes. Martin Luther King Jr., the leader of the American Civil Rights Movement, was nearly killed years before his famous "I Have a Dream" speech. In 1958, a woman stabbed him in the chest with a letter opener. The doctors later told him that if he had even sneezed, the blade would have punctured his aorta, killing him instantly. King himself later reflected on how miraculous it was that he survived. He went on to lead a movement that changed the course of history. Could it be that, just like him, your life has been preserved because your mission is not yet complete? The Bible gives us countless examples of divine protection. Daniel in the lion's den, found in Daniel chapter 6 verses 16 to 22, was thrown into a pit of hungry lions. Yet God sent his angels to shut the lions' mouths. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were thrown into a fiery furnace, but they walked out untouched because God was with them. This story is found in Daniel chapter 3 verses 24 to 27. The Apostle Paul survived shipwrecks, beatings, and countless dangers, yet he continued his mission because God had appointed him to spread the gospel, found in Acts chapter 27 verses 22 to 24. If God could protect them, why wouldn't he do the same for you? Many chosen ones experience divine interventions without even realizing it. Have you ever had a moment where you felt an unexplainable urge to take a different route, only to later discover that an accident had occurred on your original path? Have you ever been delayed in a way that frustrated you, only to later realize it saved you from danger? These moments are not random. They are God's way of protecting you, positioning you exactly where you need to be. Understanding this truth can transform the way you see your life. Instead of questioning why certain events unfold the way they do, trust that God is orchestrating everything for your good. The enemy may try to place obstacles in your way, but God's protection ensures that no attack will succeed unless he allows it for a greater purpose. You are here for a reason. Your survival is not accidental. Your journey is being divinely guided. Accept this truth and walk forward with the confidence that, no matter what comes your way, you are never alone. Your life is not a series of random events. It is a carefully woven narrative, designed by God with intention and purpose. Every moment, every challenge, and every blessing is part of a divine masterpiece, revealing the love and protection that surrounds you. Perhaps from a young age, you sensed that God was always near, as if an unseen yet deeply familiar presence walked with you. This was not your imagination. It was not mere coincidence. It was the unmistakable touch of God's love upon your life. Have you ever felt an overwhelming peace during a storm in your life, as if something greater was holding you steady? Have you ever prayed, not knowing exactly what to say, yet felt comforted by a presence beyond words? Many of God's chosen ones experience this, a closeness to the divine that defies human explanation. Even in the most difficult moments, when others might crumble under pressure, you have felt an inner strength that kept you standing. Could it be that this is God's way of telling you that he is guiding your steps, ensuring that you never walk alone? The Bible reminds us of this divine closeness in Jeremiah chapter 29 verses 12 to 13. You will cry to me and come and pray to me, and I will hear you. You will seek me and find me when you search for me with all your heart. This is a promise, not just for anyone, but for those who seek God earnestly. If you have felt drawn to prayer, even without knowing why, or if you have had moments where you sensed an answer in the stillness, it is a sign that your heart has been connected to God from the very beginning. Throughout history, those who were called to greatness often spoke of this divine connection. Joan of Arc, the young peasant girl who led France to victory in battle, claimed to hear the voice of God from a young age. She believed she was chosen for a mission, and despite facing immense opposition, she followed that divine calling with unwavering faith. What if the same deep knowing that she experienced has been stirring within you? Could it be that God has placed a unique mission in your heart, one that only you can fulfill? Even in the Bible, we see how God reveals himself to those he chooses. Samuel, as a child, heard God calling his name in the night. This story is found in 1 Samuel chapter 3 verses 4 to 10. He did not recognize the voice at first, but when he responded, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening," his journey as a prophet began. Could it be that, like Samuel, God has been whispering to your heart, waiting for you to recognize his voice? Moments of unexpected peace, the sudden urge to pray, the feeling that you are never truly alone, these are not accidents. They are signs of a divine connection, a relationship with God that is deeply personal and unshakable. Many chosen ones feel this pull from an early age, but not everyone embraces it. Some dismiss it, thinking it is just their imagination. Others resist, afraid of what it might mean. But those who lean into this calling, who nurture their relationship with God, find that it becomes their greatest source of strength. This connection is not just a gift, it is a foundation upon which your entire purpose is built. Mahatma Gandhi, though known for his political activism, once said, "Prayer is not asking, it is a longing of the soul." He believed that true prayer connected a person to a divine presence greater than themselves. What if the longing you have felt all your life, the urge to seek something beyond what this world offers, is proof that you were never meant to walk an ordinary path? Embrace this connection, let it grow, for in it lies the strength, the wisdom, and the guidance you will need to step fully into your divine purpose. Chosen ones, think back to the moments when you felt like you didn't quite belong. Perhaps even as a child, you sensed that you were different. Your thoughts ran deeper, your questions were weightier, and the way you perceived the world set you apart from those around you. Maybe you struggled to connect with your peers or even your own family because the way you saw life was not the same as theirs. This feeling of being an outsider can be painful, even isolating. But what if it was never meant to be a burden? What if it was part of God's preparation for something far greater? Being set apart has never been easy, but it has always been necessary. Joseph, the son of Jacob, was also an outsider in his own family. His brothers resented him because of his dreams and the favor he received from his father. This story is found in Genesis chapter 37 verses 3 to 4. He was thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, and later imprisoned, yet every hardship was a step toward his divine purpose. He went from being the rejected brother to the ruler of Egypt, saving countless lives during a famine. Could it be that, just like Joseph, the rejection and loneliness you have experienced were actually God's way of preparing you for something greater? Feeling like an outsider allows you to see the world from a different perspective. While others get caught up in surface-level distractions, you may have always been drawn to deeper truths. Have you ever found yourself questioning things that others accept without thought? Have you ever felt as though you were meant to understand something greater than what was right in front of you? These are not coincidences. This is how God sharpens the minds of those He has called. The discomfort of standing apart is not meant to break you, but to strengthen you, teaching you to rely on divine wisdom rather than the approval of people. The Bible reassures us in James chapter 1 verses 2 to 4. My brothers and sisters, when you face trials, rejoice in them with great joy, for you know that the testing of your faith develops endurance. Let your endurance grow to full maturity, so that you may be complete and perfect, lacking nothing. This passage reveals that the struggles you have faced were never meant to harm you. They were designed to refine you, shape you, and equip you for what is to come. Every moment of rejection, every time you felt unseen, was part of God's greater process of molding you into someone who is strong, resilient, and prepared for your divine purpose. Many who have changed the course of history experienced this deep sense of not fitting in. Nikola Tesla, one of the greatest inventors in history, was often misunderstood and isolated because his mind worked in ways that others could not comprehend. As a child, he saw visions and had ideas that seemed impossible at the time. Yet his innovations would later revolutionize the modern world. What if the very things that made you feel different were actually gifts designed to set you apart for something extraordinary? Even Jesus himself was rejected by his own people. John chapter 1 verse 11 tells us, "He came to his own, and his own did not receive him." He understood loneliness. He knew what it was to be misunderstood. And yet he fulfilled the greatest mission the world has ever known. If the Son of God walked this path, can you see how your own struggles might be shaping you for something divine? The trials you have faced have not only strengthened you, but have also given you a deep sense of empathy. You have felt emotions that others ignored. You have been overlooked, undervalued, and perhaps even ridiculed. Yet through it all, you have become stronger. When the world dismissed you, God was refining you. When others did not recognize your worth, He was preparing you for something they could not yet see. Understand this truth. Your struggles have not been in vain. They have been the fire that has forged you into something greater than you ever imagined. You are not meant to fit in because you were created to stand apart. Trust in the journey. Embrace the lessons and know that God has been preparing you for the moment when everything will come together. The time is coming when you will no longer wonder why you had to go through so much. Because you will see with absolute clarity that every step was leading you toward your divine destiny. Chosen one, from an early age, you may have felt a pull toward deeper, more meaningful stories, ones that spoke of faith, courage, and sacrifice, while other children were enchanted by fairy tales of princes and castles. Your heart was drawn to narratives of real struggle, endurance, and divine purpose. You may not have understood it at the time, but this wasn't just a passing interest, it was a sign of something greater. Could it be that God was already shaping your spirit, calling you to something beyond the ordinary? Your fascination with the lives of those who stood firm in faith, whether biblical figures, spiritual leaders, or historical icons, was never a coincidence. While others were entertained by imaginary adventures, you were captivated by the strength of those who faced great hardship for the sake of something bigger than themselves. You may have found yourself drawn to the story of Daniel in the lion's den, found in Daniel chapter 6 verses 16 to 22, marveling at how his faith remained unshaken even in the face of death. You may have felt a deep connection to Moses, who wrestled with his calling yet still led a nation to freedom. Or Esther, who risked everything to save her people. These weren't just stories to you, they stirred something within, awakening a desire to live for a purpose greater than your own. The Bible tells us in Romans chapter 15 verse 4, "Everything that has been written before was written to teach us, so that with patience and encouragement from the Scriptures we may have hope." The stories that moved you were not just for inspiration, they were preserved to shape and equip you for your journey. The same faith, courage, and resilience that captivated you in these stories were the very qualities God was planting within you. Could it be that He was using these narratives to prepare you for a mission you had yet to discover? Many great individuals who changed the course of history experienced this same calling from a young age. Martin Luther, the German theologian who sparked the Reformation, was originally studying to become a lawyer. But one day, caught in a violent storm, he cried out to God, promising to devote his life to Him if he survived. He kept that promise, leading one of the most significant movements in religious history. His transformation began with an inner pull, an undeniable conviction that he was meant for more. If you have ever felt drawn towards stories of faith and sacrifice, it may be because God is calling you to walk a similar path. As a child, you may have asked difficult questions, questions that others weren't ready to answer. Why does suffering exist? What is my true purpose? What does God want from me? While many around you were content with simple explanations, you searched for deeper truths. This set you apart. Others may have found your curiosity unusual, perhaps even intimidating, but you did not see yourself as different. To you, these questions felt natural because they were placed in your heart by God Himself. Even Jesus, at just 12 years old, was found in the temple discussing deep spiritual matters with religious scholars. This story is found in Luke chapter 2 verses 46 to 47. His understanding amazed those around him, but for him, it was simply a part of who he was. Could it be that, like Jesus in his youth, your desire for knowledge and truth was a reflection of God's wisdom being cultivated within you? Looking back, you may now realize that God has been working within you all along. Those stories that moved you, those questions that set you apart, were all signs of a divine purpose waiting to be revealed. What if everything you've been drawn to, every moment of curiosity, every stirring in your heart, has been God's way of showing you who you truly are? Your journey is only beginning, but one thing is certain: you were never meant to walk an ordinary path. You have always carried a sense of curiosity that set you apart from others. While most children were content with simple answers, your mind and spirit longed for something deeper. You pondered the mysteries of life. How was the world created? Who is God? Why do we exist? These were not fleeting thoughts, but persistent questions that stirred within you, as if your soul was searching for something beyond what was visible. This curiosity was not ordinary childhood wondering, it was a sign of divine connection. God placed this hunger for truth within you, leading you to seek answers that others overlooked. Could it be that this deep yearning was proof that you were always meant to walk a path of spiritual discovery? The Bible tells us in Proverbs chapter 25 verse 2, "It is the glory of God to conceal a matter, but the glory of kings is to search it out." Your desire to seek understanding was never random. It was a call to uncover the truths that God has hidden for those who earnestly seek Him. Many who have transformed the world began with this same sense of deep curiosity. Sir Isaac Newton, one of the greatest scientific minds in history, was fascinated by the laws of the universe. He studied physics and mathematics, but what many don't realize is that he was also deeply religious. He spent years studying the Bible, believing that the secrets of creation were intertwined with divine wisdom. His relentless curiosity led to discoveries that changed the way we understand the world. Could it be that the same deep longing you have felt since childhood is a sign that you, too, were meant to uncover something extraordinary? Even in Scripture, we see that those whom God chooses often experience a restless search for meaning. King Solomon, known for his wisdom, asked God for understanding rather than riches or power. This story is found in 1 Kings chapter 3 verses 9 to 12. And because of his desire to seek truth, God granted him wisdom beyond any man before or after him. Have you ever wondered why your heart has always sought deeper meaning while others were satisfied with surface-level answers? Could it be that, like Solomon, God has placed a gift of wisdom within you, waiting to be cultivated? This spiritual curiosity is a sign of God calling you towards something greater. It is why you have always asked questions that others found difficult to answer. It is why you have always felt drawn to mysteries beyond the physical world. Your soul was never meant to remain in the ordinary, it was designed to seek the extraordinary. This relentless search for truth has shaped you in ways you may not even realize. While others were content with what they were taught, you always needed to go deeper, to understand the why behind everything. This is because your spirit was created to seek wisdom, and God has been leading you toward divine knowledge all along. The more you searched, the more you uncovered truths that others failed to see. Have you ever noticed how certain revelations seem to come to you at just the right time? As if God was gently guiding your understanding layer by layer? Your journey of seeking is not in vain. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 11 tells us, "He has set eternity in the human heart, yet no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end." This means that your longing to understand the mysteries of life is not random. It is God's fingerprint on your soul, calling you to discover Him in ways most people never will. While others may dismiss their deeper questions, you have always felt that there is something more, something beyond what the eye can see. Could it be that this unshakable curiosity is part of the purpose God has placed on your life? History has shown that some of the most influential figures carried this same restless desire to uncover hidden truths. Leonardo da Vinci, one of the greatest minds of the Renaissance, spent his life exploring the mysteries of science, art, and human nature. He was fascinated by creation itself, studying the intricate details of anatomy, nature, and the stars, always seeking a deeper understanding of how the world was designed. His insatiable curiosity led him to discoveries centuries ahead of his time. What if your own curiosity is a divine gift, meant to lead you toward a greater revelation about God's creation and your role within it? Even in the Bible, we see that those called by God often experience this deep hunger for knowledge. Daniel, the prophet, sought understanding through visions and dreams, interpreting mysteries that others could not comprehend. This story is found in Daniel chapter 2 verses 19 to 23. His ability to decipher what was hidden was not merely intellectual, it was spiritual insight given by God. Have you ever received wisdom or knowledge that felt beyond your own understanding? If so, it is likely that God has been revealing things to you, just as He did with Daniel. But with great wisdom comes great responsibility. The more you seek, the more you will be shown, and not all will understand what has been revealed to you. Some may dismiss your questions as unnecessary or even ridicule you for thinking differently. Yet chosen ones are not meant to conform to the ways of the world. They are meant to stand apart and walk in divine wisdom. You were never meant to settle for superficial knowledge. You were created to search, to question, to uncover the mysteries of the kingdom of God. What you have felt since childhood has always been leading you here, to a greater understanding of who you were and the divine purpose you were meant to fulfill. The real question now is, are you ready to embrace this calling and step fully into the wisdom God has prepared for you? Embracing this calling means understanding that your hunger for knowledge is not just intellectual, it is spiritual. The very questions that have set you apart from others are the keys to unlocking the purpose God has placed within you. While the world often seeks temporary answers, you have always been drawn towards something eternal, something that resonates beyond human understanding. Have you ever noticed how certain truths stir something deep inside you, as if they were meant for you to discover? That feeling is not an accident. It is God's way of confirming that your search is leading you closer to Him. This journey is not always easy. There will be times when your curiosity will make you feel misunderstood. Those around you may question why you think so deeply, why you refuse to accept surface-level explanations, or why your heart is drawn toward things others ignore. But this is what sets you apart. Jesus Himself was questioned, ridiculed, and even rejected for revealing truths that the world was not ready to accept. John chapter 1 verse 5 tells us, "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." You, too, are a light, one that is meant to shine in a world that often chooses to remain blind. Many of the greatest minds and spiritual leaders have walked this same path. Søren Kierkegaard, the Danish philosopher and theologian, spent his life questioning the nature of faith, truth, and human existence. He was often criticized for thinking too deeply, yet his insights later became some of the most profound teachings on faith and purpose. He once said, "Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards." Could it be that the questions that have shaped your journey will one day reveal answers that others will come to seek? In the Bible, we see that those who truly sought God were given hidden wisdom that others could not perceive. Proverbs chapter 2 verses 3 to 5 encourages us. "Indeed, if you call out for insight and cry aloud for understanding, if you look for it as for silver and search for it as for hidden treasure, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God." This verse reminds us that wisdom is not freely given to all. It's reserved for those who actively seek it. You have always been searching, always asking, always longing for something deeper. This is because God has been guiding you to a knowledge that is not meant for everyone, but for those He has chosen. With this understanding comes an even greater responsibility. The insights you receive are not just for yourself, they are meant to be shared. The wisdom God has given you is a light that will guide others out of confusion and darkness. But this also means that you will face resistance. Just as Jesus spoke in parables so that only those with ears to hear could truly understand, found in Matthew chapter 13 verses 10 to 13, you will find that not everyone is ready to receive the truths you uncover. Some will reject them, some will ridicule them, and some will even try to silence you. But remember, you were never meant to fit in, you were meant to lead. Have you ever felt that the more you seek, the more God reveals to you? Have you noticed that certain truths resonate so deeply within you that they feel familiar, as if they were always meant to be part of your journey? That is because they are. The wisdom you are uncovering has been waiting for you all along. You are not just a seeker, you are a chosen one. And the time is coming when everything you have been searching for will align, revealing the divine path that has been prepared for you since the beginning. Are you ready to step into the fullness of this calling? Stepping into this calling means embracing both the responsibility and the challenges that come with it. The deeper you seek, the more you will uncover, not just about the mysteries of life, but about your own divine identity. Many chosen ones hesitate at this stage, feeling the weight of what they have been shown. Have you ever had a moment when you realized a truth so profound that it left you questioning everything you thought you knew? These moments are not accidents, they are awakenings, signs that God is unlocking doors within your spirit, preparing you for something greater. But here is the challenge. Not everyone will understand you. Many people are comfortable living within the boundaries of what they have been taught. They fear questioning too much, afraid of what they might find. But you were never meant to be like everyone else. God designed you to seek, to uncover, and to illuminate truths that others shy away from. This can sometimes make your path feel lonely. But even in those moments of solitude, you're never truly alone. In Jeremiah chapter 33 verse 3, God promises, "Call to me and I will answer you and tell you great and unsearchable things you do not know." This means that every time you ask, every time you seek, every time you feel that burning desire to understand more, God is responding. You may not always hear an immediate answer, but He is guiding your thoughts, aligning your steps, and leading you toward revelations that will shape your future. Think about Galileo Galilei, the great astronomer who dared to challenge what the world believed about the universe. He faced opposition from religious and scientific authorities, yet he continued searching for the truth. His discoveries reshaped humanity's understanding of the cosmos. But at a great cost. He was ridiculed, condemned, and placed under house arrest for his beliefs. Yet today, we recognize that he was right all along. What if the knowledge stirring within you is like that? A truth that others are not yet ready to accept, but one that will one day change lives? This is the path of the chosen ones. You will be misunderstood, you will be questioned, you will even be resisted. But every great leader, prophet, and visionary has walked this road before you. Moses doubted himself, yet he led an entire nation to freedom. Paul was persecuted before he became one of the greatest messengers of the gospel. Even Jesus was rejected by his own people. But did their struggles stop them? No, because they understood that what was placed inside them was far greater than the opposition they faced. And now, you stand at the same crossroads. You can ignore the calling and try to blend in with the world, or you can embrace the path that has been designed for you since the beginning. This is your moment of choice. If you have felt like an outsider, if you have always carried questions that others refuse to ask, if you have sensed that your life was meant for something more, you are not imagining it. You are waking up to who you truly are. The world may not be ready for the truths you will uncover, but God is preparing you to carry them anyway. Are you ready to step fully into the wisdom and purpose that has been waiting for you all along? Because the journey is only beginning. As we reach the conclusion of today's message, I want you to take a moment to truly reflect on this powerful truth. The world may have tried to conceal your true identity, but God sees you exactly as you are. You are His chosen one, marked by divine purpose, and the greatness that has been hidden from you will soon be revealed. What others may have overlooked, misunderstood, or even tried to bury, God is about to bring to the surface for all to see. Your story is far from ordinary. It's a story of purpose, destiny, and the power of God's plan unfolding in your life. The world may have tried to define you by your struggles, but God defines you by your calling. I know that hearing this message may have stirred something deep within you. If it has touched your heart, I encourage you to consider supporting this ministry through a super thanks. Your generous contributions help us continue to spread the message of hope, healing, and divine purpose to more and more people. Whether you're able to donate or not, I want to take this moment to express my heartfelt gratitude for your continued support. Your presence, your time, and your encouragement mean the world to us, and we are thankful to have you as part of this journey. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share this message with those who might need to hear it. You never know who might be in need of encouragement today, and your actions can make a huge impact on their lives. I also encourage you to comment below. Your thoughts and experiences are so valuable, and they help to create a community of people who are walking in faith, growing together, and supporting one another. As you go forward today, may God continue to bless you abundantly. May He reveal more of His incredible plan for your life and guide your steps in His light. You are chosen, your purpose is divine, and your journey is far from over. Stay confident in the truth of who you are, and remember that no matter what has happened in the past, the best is yet to come. God is working behind the scenes, preparing you for greatness. Trust in His timing, believe in His promises, and walk boldly in your true identity. You are deeply loved, and God is for you. Keep moving forward in faith, knowing that you are destined for incredible things. God bless you richly, and may His peace be with you always.